Shalom and welcome to all my brothers and sisters. And for those of you who are new to this channel, I hope you'll subscribe. And if you like this, please hit the like button as it will share this video with other people that might need to understand this as well. Thank you for your time. That being said, today I thought I'd speak briefly on a controversial passage among Christian Messianics and Jews alike. Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14. The alleged virgin birth prediction. It says there, "Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, an alma, a young woman, shall conceive and bear a son, and she shall call his name Emmanuel." Now in the book of Matthew in the Christian Bible, Matthew mistranslates this passage to say virgin, which is the word betulah, not alma. Betulah is the Hebrew word for virgin. Alma means young woman. Now, any student of Tanakh or biblical Hebrew knows that when a prophet wishes to identify the word for virgin in Hebrew, he will write betulah. It's not a problem. Accordingly, elsewhere in Tanakh, when the word alma, young woman, appears, Christian translators translate it correctly as young woman. In fact, the word has a young male form, elam. It is perfectly clear from other uses in Tanakh that it is impossible to render this word as virgin, meaning alma, which is young woman. Here's an example. In Psalms chapter 30, verse 19, it speaks of 4 paths. It says, "The way of an eagle is in the air, the way of the snake in the rock, the way of the ship in the sea, the way of a man with an alma, a young woman." Very clear. Is there any need to spell out what is the way of a man with an alma in context? Another mistranslation that stands out in this verse deals with who is giving the name Emmanuel to the baby, here in Isaiah 7:14, chapter 7, verse 14. In the actual verse in Isaiah, it is clearly stated that the mother will give his name, while Matthew distorts the text by saying, "They shall call his name," meaning future tense. So that's what he's claiming, that Isaiah was talking about, the future. Okay? That's the focus, is that Matthew is claiming that Isaiah was speaking about the future prophecy, future calling of the name Emmanuel. Why the deviation? It is obvious when we consider how Matthew is attempting to rip this verse out of context. Now, before you get upset, I hope I'm not, causing any disruption to you or upsetting you. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand why I say this. So, hang on with me. We're going to get there. It would support his contention, meaning Matthew, that the child born is divine. For it is not his mother who identifies him as being of the flesh of God. Rather, some group, they also proclaim this phenomenon. This is another thing, is that Matthew uses the term, "they shall call his name." Whereas if you look in the book of Isaiah, clearly it says, "and she shall call his name Emmanuel." Yet Matthew says, "they shall call him Emmanuel." So there's word games going on here that if you're not careful to pay attention to these things, you'll miss it. It's a game it's playing with the words, changing word here, a word there, to make it appear Christological, that it's speaking about or sound like Jesus or Yeshua's future birth. However, the biggest problem here is not wordplay. The biggest problem we have here is context. What is the context of Isaiah chapter 7? What is going on in the chapter of Isaiah chapter 7? The problem is a lot of people who read this verse do not study the context of the chapter. Let's take a look at what really is happening in chapter 7 altogether, okay? From the beginning. "And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, king of Judah, that Rezin, king of Aram, and Pekah, king of Israel, son of Ramaliah, went up to attack Jerusalem." Now, let me repeat this. attack Jerusalem. But they were not able to conquer it. When word came to the house of David that Aram was encamped in Ephraim, the heart of the king and heart of the people trembled. They were worried about this, as the trees of the forest tremble in the wind. Then the Lord said to Isaiah, "Go to meet Ahaz the king. Go meet him and say to him, take care, remain calm." He means calm down. Tell him to calm down. Do not fear. Why? Don't fear? Let not your courage fail before these two stumps of smoldering brands who are saying, "Let us go up and tear Judah asunder, make it our own by force." Meaning these armies were going to come against the king of Ahaz, against Judah. That's the context. It's a civil war going on. And King Ahaz is very afraid. And so are the people. They're worried because they're outnumbered. Big time. So that's the context. Let's keep going. Thus says the Lord, this shall not stand. It shall not be. Again, the Lord spoke to Ahaz, ask for a sign from the Lord your God. Let it be deep as the depths below. Meaning, give me your best shot. Ask me for any sign. I don't care how incredible it is. Tell Ahaz to ask for any great sign, big or small, period, to prove that I'm with you. But Ahaz answered, I will not ask, I will not tempt the Lord. Then he said, listen, O house of David, it is not enough for you to be weary men. Must you also weary God or tire God out? Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the young woman is with child, and will bear a son, and shall name him Emmanuel. He shall be living on butter and honey. Now here's the point. It's not about the young woman will conceive. It goes on to say, here's the point. Here is the prophecy. Here is the sign. Not the birth of the child. He shall be living on butter and honey until the time he learns to reject the bad and choose the good. Now listen carefully. Before the child learns to reject the bad and choose the good, here's where the drum roll comes in. Here's the sign. The land of those two kings whom you dread shall be deserted. They'll be finished. Before the child learns to reject the bad and choose the good, meaning before he learns from right and wrong, meaning in his toddler phase. It's not the focus of the birth. It's the focus that before he turns into knowing right from wrong, meaning a toddler, that these armies that are coming against you will be wiped out. Okay? So in context, we understand that Isaiah chapter 7, particularly verses 1 through 16, we understand that the king of Judah, Ahaz, is in mortal fear of two armies. Okay? Aram and the kingdom of Israel, who have attacked. In order to placate his fear, God, through his prophet Isaiah, reassures him that he and his kingdom will be safe. The sign of this will be that a woman obviously known to Ahaz, or else the woman's name would have been given, or something about her, will bear a child. The essence of this sign was that within a few years, the time the child will be able to discern between good and evil, Ahaz would experience the salvation from above and be spared. If this passage was predicting the birth of Jesus or Yeshua, who lived 700 years after Ahaz, can you answer me how that would comfort King Ahaz? Now put yourself in King Ahaz's shoes. You're the king of a people, and you've got two armies. You're outnumbered, big time outnumbered. It looks like you're going down, and you feel like it's the end. The end is coming, right? And someone comes along, let's just say he calls himself a prophet, and you say, yes, can I help you? He says, yes, I have a sign from God. And you know he's a prophet, okay? Listen, you know he's a prophet. Great, you got a sign from God. Please tell me, please, because I'm shaking. My hands are shaking. I'm the king of these people, and what am I going to say to them? I'm outnumbered. We're going down. And he says, calm down, calm down. God will give you a sign, okay? Here's the sign. Okay, I'm waiting. I can't wait to hear it. Please tell me, please, because I can't. I don't know what to do. They're coming. What's the sign? Tell me. Here's the sign. Okay, ready for this? Here's the sign. In 700 years, King Ahaz is like this. Yes. In 700 years, a virgin will give birth to a miraculous child, and he's going to be the Messiah. Don't you feel so much better now? What do you think King Ahaz would respond to that? How would he respond to that? Would that comfort King Ahaz? 700 years later, a virgin will give birth to a miraculous child, and he will be the Messiah. Have a nice day. I hope it's comforting to you. He'd be like, think about this. It's just rational thinking. The context is clear, okay? This is not to be silly. This is the point that this makes no sense. The context is clear. This is why context is so important. Who cares? How would that comfort King Ahaz? It makes no sense. It's not properly translated. I mean, that's obvious. When you understand just basic, you don't have to learn Hebrew to know this. Just look it up. In every other place, it says young woman. It's very clear. But here, Matthew has an agenda. He wants it to be a virgin birth. He wants to use, and Matthew does this routinely more than any other book in the New Testament. Over and over. Tries to prove the case for Jesus being the Messiah, Yeshua, by misquoting, mistranslating, or even making up verses in the Tanakh